I arranged a photographer. We got all the advertising out and everything else, and around that 300 people came out on the Friday night because he only had a few hours. So it was pretty, trying to keep it as tight as possible. And then Sheffield, he did the arena up there, and, there were people up there he did his evening with. It was good, and he was very polite man. Jimmy Hart was with him. And then on the Saturday, he had like Typhoon and Bushwhacker Luke. Lanny Poffo, the genius, he was there. Yeah. So again, I've made more contacts there. Again, they've seen what I've done with the other guys, so they're like, oh well, maybe you can bring us over, and So again, it's all the word of mouth thing.
Did you have Buff Bagwell over?
I did. I had Buff Bagwell over.
How was that?
It was, again, for me, absolutely fine. Not a problem at all. Really like down to earth guy, and it was all right, where you talk to people and they go, oh well, he was a bit of an arse and a bit of a an egomaniac, but again, I think once you're forgotten, or once you're out of the people's once you're out of the limelight for a little while, then it should humble you to think, well, do you know what, if I do get these opportunities, I need to make the best of the situation. I need to be as good as gold because I want to come back. If you come over here, and again, I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but I brought someone over. They acted a complete arse. They'll never come back.
Yeah.
What I mean? Simple as.
You can tell me who that is when we've stopped recording. Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. You just don't come over, and I would say again, 99% of the people that I've brought over to the UK have been really good, and they just want to keep coming back, so you just get the odd 1 or 2% who decide they want to act a diva, or they don't want to do things, or they want to do things differently, and it's just like, well, if you're going to cause me problems, I'm not going to bring you back, especially when it's not my money being pumped into it. It's doing it for somebody else, or I'm doing it for another promotion, or I'm doing it for the Comic Cons, I don't want to give them any grief or hassle. So
yeah, it's a good thing to be in with. So yeah, absolutely. Now, what about the things you've got going on in the Middle East? I see as well.
Yeah, 2009, I managed to get myself out to Egypt on a tour, which was eventful to say the least. Rock hard ring. We got paid 50% deposit before we left, but we only got the flights like the day before. And then when we got there on the third night, we were told there was no more money. So the lads were all going to take a stand and not do the show. And then we was told we could be thrown into an Egyptian jail, etc., etc. So we ended up doing the show and then going home. But the promoter that had brought me out promised me on that night before I left. He said, I promise you. He says, you'll be paid everything you're owed. I never hassled him. A year later, he messaged me out of the blue and said, right, send me your bank details. I've got the money that I owe you. Paid me the remainder of the money that he owed me. And then, he's been running out in Qatar, which is QPW, and I've been doing shows out there. So we've done a few out there. Managed to get a few of the Brit lads on. Again, he comes to me and asks me to sort of like get American names or bring American names in and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. I'm looking forward to going back out there. Been out to Kuwait. I got took out to Kuwait to try and train someone for a couple of weeks.
Oh wow,
that was hard.
Interesting. What did they teach you?
Yeah, never to accept a 2-week book. There's no alcohol out there. There's no clubs or anything,
Oh my gosh.
It really was sat in a hotel room, and if you're a single man or anything like that, and your thing is looking for naked stuff on the internet out in the Middle East, it's not going to happen either.
No, sounds a bit dull.
Yeah, so the highlight of the QA. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed going out there and walking around and looking around and you know, and on my own as well. Do you know what I mean? Just walking out in Kuwait and walking around and, you know, exploring places was, there was an Indian restaurant opposite from where I was staying, which I would go and get my, you know, my meals from. But there was always a guy outside selling hooky DVDs. Do you know what I mean? You know, so I'd just go over there. So what DVDs you got today? And that was it. That was pretty much sat in my hotel room. I bought myself a little DVD player and was just watching DVDs.
God, the days of going out with the lads after the shows have gone, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, it still happens, but as I say, Kuwait's totally different, and I was on my own. There was no with me, it was just me out there on my own. So it was like, wow. Just...
And you also garnered a little bit of publicity. I saw I think it was in the Daily Star and a few other places, because let's be fair, you were a bit of a fat bastard, wasn't you? At one, you became, I mean, you was always a little bit chubby, but what did you go up to?
21.5 stone.
Wow. And then what happened?
I had a heart attack.
Okay, and that was warning for you, was it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a warning shot. I was actually doing a show at Butlins for Brian. Brian wasn't there at the time, but James Mason was. And James Mason goes, "Oh mate, you don't look well. But you never know with James, do you know what I mean? Because James is always that kind of like jokey, you know, "Oh, you don't look well, pal," do you know what I mean? Yeah, you're looking a bit like death, do you know what I mean?
Your Phil Powers and James Mason sound very alike.
I know, sometimes I've still got his coal mates, but yeah, "Oh, you don't look well, mate, you know," and James, bless him, was like, "Look, sit out. We'll referee between us, you know, you still get paid." I said, no, don't be daft. Finished that show. The next day I drove to France with Marty Skirl, and we did a show out there, and again, everyone's saying, "Oh, you don't look well," and this, that, and the other. Come home, and I'm like, sort of like, as I say, 21 stone, fat, sweating, you know, and I'm just thinking, oh, well, this is just me, do you know what I mean? I'm just, you know, just sweaty old me, you know, bit fat. And then my missus took me to the doctors. Doctors strapped on all the gear and took my blood pressure and everything else. And the next thing, she's picking up the phone and calling for an ambulance and saying, "You've either had or you're having a heart attack." I'm like, oh. So you do what you do in those normal situations. You send a tweet out or having a heart attack. Do you know what I mean? You know, because I didn't feel, you know, it wasn't like, I wasn't grasping my arm, and I wasn't like, you know, I was in there for 7 days and they were running tests and everything, and it was like there was no damage done to me, you know, thank God, but it was a wake up call, and they said if you don't lose weight, the next one, you know, because my dad dropped dead at 37. Right. My uncles all dropped dead at like in the 40s, and you know, all heart attacks or heart related. So yeah, so they were pretty much saying, you know, if you don't drop this weight, you're going to be dead. You know, you'll not see 40.
So am I right or am I wrong here? Did you have the gastric bypass surgery?
I had some surgery done, yes.
Right, okay. But, I mean, nothing wrong with that. How much have you lost now?
9.5 stone.
Wow, that's incredible. That's like 140 pounds.
I did that in 3 months.
Oh, my God. And do you feel much better for it?
Yeah, of course. And I've maintained. In fact, I've even lost a bit. I was at 13.5 stone. I'm now down to 13 stone, but I'm just maintaining. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Klondike Kate's just
she has, yeah. She's yeah. For those that don't know, Klondike Kate, probably the biggest female wrestling star of Britain. I know she's had it done, hasn't she, as well?
And the thing is like, what people will always think, oh, that's an easy option and it's an easy way out, and
yeah.
You know what? And don't get me wrong, it's a massive help at the beginning when you do have surgery like that. You know, at the beginning, because you can't eat anything and you can't. But do you know what? Like now, I can go out. I mean, this is me personally. I can eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go back to the way I was. So
yeah, it's the same as steroids. I think people think you take steroids, you're going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, don't they? It doesn't quite work that way.
No, and it's the same with this. You know, it's and I've kayfabed it from the boys a little bit. I mean, the people that I know that have had the surgery, But, you know, I'm sort of like, you know, because I get, oh, you've had the old gastric band and this, that, and it's like, and then they'll come with me. I say, right, come on, guys, we'll go to a restaurant. You know what I mean? And they'll sit there and I'll order a mixed grill and I'll eat the mixed grill. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, honestly, if I had a gastric band, would I be able to do that? No. Do you know what I mean? And it's because I don't want that stigma of thinking, well,
you've cheated in a way, yeah.
You know, and it isn't. I've put a lot of, and it's hard work now, because you knew what I was like back then. Do you know what I mean? You know, I would go out.
Oh, you was 20 a pack, 20 a day smoker,
yeah.
And 21 stone. Yeah, you was the peak of unhealthiness, wasn't it? I've turned into that now, to be honest with you.
You know,
I'm not quite 21 stone, but I'm getting up there.
But you know, and it's now hard work. You know, not sort of reaching down and not sort of like going back to the old habits. It is a definite change of mind. You know, Flash Barker looks amazing at the minute.
He's lost and naturally lost a load of weight, hasn't he? Yeah, quite amazing. Anybody that's got the dedication to do that for me is amazing, because I've tried and I really struggle to keep the weight off. It's really good.
Now, don't get me wrong, I did try losing the weight. But I was told, because of certain things that I'd taken back in the day, actually stops your...
It's messed up your... Yeah.
So it's because I had to be perfectly honest with them. Have you taken steroids? Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you taken amphetamines? Well,
that's the thing. It's those old... what did they used to... T5, did they call them? Or T3?
T3s, T5s, yeah, I did all of that.
Yeah, and they mess up your... that's it, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So and they even said, even just dieting and exercise won't help you. You need to have this done where you cannot take anything in your body more than 500 calories a day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that is the only way, is to starve you down for 3 months. And then you have to set your mind to think you don't want to go back to where you were. And I haven't.
Yeah.
Touch wood.
Yeah. No, well, 9.5 stone is absolutely amazing. So, yeah, and that got you on the TNA tour, I remember. How was that?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good, again, to have that much trust put in you, because, again, there weren't house shows, they were all TV tapings. So, at a house show, you can sort of get away with stuff, can't you? Because, if you mess up, there's only people in the audience that probably see it or whatever. When it's TV and it's pay-per-views and things like that, so a lot of trust, and I think, I would like to think I'm probably one of the better referees in the UK, so it's like, so it was a pretty good confidence boost. Lost the weight, you know what I mean, looking healthier, feeling healthier, doing, TV stuff, for a major company, and as I say, I mean, I've worked for a lot of companies like Japan, Pro Wrestling, Noah. I mean, you yourself, you work Misawa.
You did.
So for them to have sort of trust in me and everything when I've refereed for those guys and everything else, it's just a big, it's just a big confidence boost as well. I'm doing, there's a new promotion called 5 Star Wrestling, doing shows in January. And they got Rey Mysterio. They're doing big arena shows, etc.
Oh, okay.
So that's happening. Hoping that I'll get on the TNA tour in end of January as well in the UK when they come back over. So,
like you said earlier, you may have been viewed by some people, and I think that's not so much. I don't think anyone thinks you're a joke. I think your general demeanour has always been to go to the shows and have a laugh. And I think people sometimes take the piss, but you certainly I look at some of the things on your Facebook, what you're doing. I think it's absolutely marvellous. So and as we've known each other for 26 years, and I've taken the piss, and I will continue to take the piss. But that doesn't mean I don't think you're doing very well.
No. But there's a difference though. We've known each other since day one. What gets my goat is people that have just come into the business, and it's happened a few times. They'll come in and just start off, they don't know you, and it's like, I said, can you imagine if we'd have done that? If we
Oh my
went to a
God.
changing room and like just started taking the mick out of somebody, we'd have been handed our asses on us.
Imagine doing Skull, or
Yeah.
you just got killed, wouldn't you? That'd be the end of it, wouldn't it? Right. So winding down then, because we've talked a lot. I've very much enjoyed going through the history, because you're one of the few people that has more or less done the same route I have. Currently